Welcome inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Dan Hope joined by Andy Anders as we just had an opportunity to meet Ohio State's 5 new transfers, not including Julian Sayin, as he's considered to be a freshman, but the 5 players who already have college experience who are transferring to Ohio State, those being Caleb Downs, Will Howard, Quinshon Judkins, Will Kacmarek, and Seth McLaughlin. Certainly a very talented group of transfers here at Ohio State that a lot of people are excited about, and they are now all here. They're going through winter workouts, and it seems like they're all getting acclimated quite comfortably to being Buckeyes.
Yeah, I think Will Howard seemed the most, at least among those I talked to, seemed the most excited to be here. I mean, he used the phrase that he has to pinch himself every day that he's here. He's very excited to be a Buckeye, in his words, very grateful for this opportunity. And he talked about how being sort of battle-tested at Kansas State has prepared him for the pressure of this moment. And for those who might not know about Will Howard's first 3 years there, he went through some pretty difficult times. As a true freshman, starter gets hurt. He's called upon to start, doesn't perform so well. Kansas State went out and got Adrian Martinez, I'm sure you remember that name, from Nebraska, to replace him, to be the starter, and then they wanted to redshirt him that year. Adrian has injury issues. He ends up starting 7 games, leads Kansas State to some pretty big wins, including a Big 12 championship. And so he talked about how those hard times have sort of prepared him for this opportunity and have made him extra grateful for this opportunity. He's really excited to come in and lead this offense, and I was very impressed with his candor today. Just very well thought out. He really likes the pro-style offense. In his words, that Ryan Day and Bill O'Brien kind of sold him on here. Obviously, Ryan Day was the recruitment really before Bill O'Brien got in. But in any case, those conversations, Will is very pleased with the idea, the design for him in this offense. Maybe not as many designed runs for him as he saw himself having at Kansas State, but he is willing to run when called upon to do so, when it's needed, maybe when the protection breaks down, whatever the case. So lots of things to look forward to about Will, and I'm excited to see how he takes to the offense as spring progresses.
Yeah, I think from all these guys, you get a sense of being very excited to be here as Buckeyes. You know, a guy like a Quinshon Judkins, even though he already played at a major program in Ole Miss, talking about how, he came here because he wants to be a part of a team that has a chance to go win a national championship. Obviously, Will Kacmarek coming from Ohio, this is a jump for him going from OU to Ohio State, and he says it's a dream come true, something he would not have envisioned when he started his career at OU, so certainly very exciting for him to be a Buckeye. And then you have the 2 guys who came here from Alabama, and Caleb Downs and Seth McLaughlin. And Caleb was asked about what are the similarities between Ohio State and Alabama, and he said both places, it's all about the work. It's all about the preparation, and the expectations are the same. You're here to win championships and to try to dominate every game. And so I think, bringing in guys who have all been a part of successful programs already, there's a lot of things that those guys can bring to this program to where, being here at Ohio State, it doesn't seem too big for any of these guys because some of them have already played on very big stages.
Right. That includes, obviously, Seth, like you said, and Caleb from Alabama. And Seth, I think one of the interesting things, too, talking to him today was going through just what his development looks like at center now and trying, obviously, to rectify some of the snapping issues that hurt him in that game against Michigan there that Alabama played, the college football playoff. And talked about, he's been playing center since he was a 7-year-old, apparently. That's what he told us. And he has, he said snapping is something that has always come natural to him. And it was just, he said he really couldn't explain what happened in that game. But I think so much of it now is just finding that consistency again for him. And also, while it seemed pretty heavily implied that he was looking to be the center here, and he talked about, just how much that intellectual side of playing center, calling out pass protections appeals to him. He also didn't set it in stone. He left the possibility very much open that he could play at guard, potentially on this offensive line, if that's what's needed. I think we expect him to be at center, but the possibility was left there that, he's saying he'll play wherever the line has needed him, and he, in his words, came here just as an offensive lineman, not specifically a center. Doesn't have, he didn't play any guard at Alabama other than practicing there. He played tackle in high school, so we'll see how that plays out. but was really good to get to talking to him, and it's clear his knowledge of the game is at a very high level.
And Caleb Downs did say that, he has talked mostly with the coaches about playing that adjuster position, which is the free safety position in this defense. He said they have talked some about him being a punt returner, doesn't know yet whether he's going to be a punt returner, but said he would like to continue to do that if the coaches want him to do that. And I think the biggest thing I heard today that stood out to me was Caleb Downs said in the first 7 or 8 hours he was in the transfer portal, he received 102 phone calls. Andy, have you ever received 102 phone calls in 7 or 8 hours?
I don't think I've received 102 phone calls in 7 or 8 months. Damn, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like just being in his shoes when you enter the portal and have that many people wanting to talk to you. But that speaks to how good a player Caleb Downs is, the National Freshman of the Year. Ohio State certainly very excited to have him in the fold, and very excited to have all these guys in the fold, because all these guys, Will Howard's likely the starting quarterback. Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson could be the best running back tandem in the country. Seth McLaughlin, like you said, probably the starting center. Will Kacmarek, potentially the starting tight end. So all 5 of these guys that we talked to today are going to play huge roles at Ohio State this year. Certainly looked forward to talking to them today. If you haven't already, check out the other videos on our YouTube page. We have interviews with all 5 of those guys, and we expect to be back here next week for more coverage on National Signing Day. So we'll be back for another episode of Press Coverage, and we hope you'll join us then.